Well, government is planning subsidies for the coal industry, so how will that affect consumers? Market Development Group Director at the American Petroleum Institute, Todd Snitchler, joining us now. Well, Todd, first of all, Rick Perry's our energy guy, former governor of Texas. He knows energy better than any governor in America, so one would assume that he knew how to stimulate production of energy, of fossil fuels in America. Did that cross the line, though, into subsidies?
Well, David, as you look at the proposal that is being put forward by the Department of Energy, they're really asking for subsidies to be given to two particular fuel sources, coal and nuclear, and it's really putting in jeopardy some of the successes that have been discovered and really put into place by natural gas as a result of the low cost that exists and how we are able to use that to lower consumers' prices, and really that's jeopardizing the low cost that customers are paying across the country.
Okay, now full disclosure, coal would be your competitor, right? You're a natural gas guy, coal is a competitor, so you've got a horse in this race, no?
Certainly we do, and we think it's important that folks understand that we're an all-of-the-above organization, and by that we mean we understand that all sources of fuel are going to be part of the American portfolio going forward, and in fact, America's fuel generation portfolio is more diverse now than it's ever been, and we think that's a good thing because it's provided resilient and reliable fuel and energy to customers across the country.
Now, Nora Brownwell, who we've had on at FBM before, she's a former G.W. Bush appointee, former energy official. She does call what's happening now for coal companies to be cash for cronies. That is, these are coal companies, some of whom, again, have been here as guests on Fox Business, but who have been very supportive of Donald Trump, and this is payback. Would you go that far?
I think really we would differentiate, and we would just say that we think that it's important that we retain the market solution as a way to achieve good outcomes. Natural gas has a great story to tell in America. It's reduced emissions, and that carbon emissions are down to 30-year lows. We have lower prices for consumers, and we've seen the entire supply chain benefit from the exploration and development of natural gas resources, and that's a success story across the country.
Now, the Washington Post had a big piece on all this, and I was trying to find out exactly how coal companies were being rewarded. The most I could find, there's this new provision that if a coal company has 90-day reserves, they are given sort of extra credit from the Energy Department. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure, David. It's part of the proposed rulemaking that has been put forward by the Department of Energy and handed to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC. And they've been evaluating that proposal now and are expected to act by mid-January to come up with a solution. But it does reward generating sites that have 90 days of on-site fuel storage, which would be coal and nuclear units based on the size of the coal pile that would exist or the fact that they have fuel rods on site, and would be a direct detriment to natural gas because we operate in more of a just-in-time fuel delivery mechanism.
Now, even though you're a competitor, I'm going to ask for some sympathy from you to the coal companies. You look at what's happened to coal over the past 7-8 years, specifically, of course, during the Obama administration. They were beaten down like bandits. I mean, time and time and time again. We saw the market cap of most coal companies go down sometimes 90% or more. Don't you feel that they should get some kind of leg up when you see what has happened to them in terms of overregulation?
David, in the end, I look at it from this perspective. Customers are already benefiting because of the low cost of natural gas. And while certainly there have been environmental rules that were put in place that were not beneficial to the coal industry, what's really driving many of the investment decisions and the change in fuel generation is a result of the low cost and large supply of natural gas that's available. And it's not merely a function of overregulation. It's actually lower costs and better environmental and outcomes for consumers that are why natural gas is the single largest source of generating capacity in the country.
Right, but aren't there some kinds of regulatory relief to the coal companies, specifically allowing them more freedom to export to other countries? Isn't that a good thing, not only for those countries to whom we're exporting, but also for our country's economy?
Certainly, we wouldn't disagree with if the coal company wants to export their product. We think that's a business decision that they should make. And in fact, at least one company has said that that's benefited their bottom line tremendously this year. And we think that's a great use of America's resources.
But I agree with you. I'm not for crony capitalism at all. I don't want subsidies where they don't belong. If it's just a matter of deregulation of what the coal companies have had to deal with, the overregulation that they've been subjected to, you're not opposed to that.
I think what's important is that we keep in mind the perspective of consumer benefits and low cost. And the system is reliable as it's ever been, and energy is as low cost as it's been. And that's a direct result of the use of natural gas.
It's a direct result of an administration that's also a lot more favorable to fossil fuels than it was in the past. Todd Snitchler, good to see you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate it.